All right. I'm the wrong
Good evening and welcome to the June 22nd, 2015 Hillsborough Township Board of Education meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. In accordance with the State Sunshine Law of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting of the Hillsborough Township Board of Education was provided on June 18th, 2015 to the Hillsborough Beacon and Courier News. May I have a roll call, please, Mr. Mahmood?
Surely. Ms. Bogoshevsky?
Here.
Ms. Santafonte?
Here.
Mr. Cohen?
Here.
Mr. Dutta?
Here.
Mr. Gillette? Mrs. Haas? Mrs. Haley? Ms. Wasant?
Here.
And Mr. Kent?
Here.
We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Okay, we're going to read a motion to go into executive session. Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231 of the laws of 1975 provides that a public body may exclude the public from that portion of a meeting of which the public body discloses certain matters for which confidentiality is required, as permitted in Section 7B of the Act, resolved by the Board of Education of the Township of Hillsborough in the County of Somerset and State of New Jersey as follows. The matters to be discussed are personnel matters. The matters discussed in executive session shall be disclosed to the public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. I'd like to entertain a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We're going to executive session. We'll return at 7:30 for a regularly scheduled regular meeting. Thank you. Okay, we're back from closed session. Good evening and welcome to the June 22nd, 2015 Hillsborough Township Board of Education meeting. I'd like to have a roll call, please, Mr. Mahmood.
Surely. Ms. Bogoshevsky?
Yes. Here.
Ms. Santafonte?
Here.
Mr. Cohen?
Here.
Mr. Dutta?
Yes.
Mr. Gillette? Mrs. Haas?
Yes.
Mrs. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Wasant?
Here.
And Mr. Kent?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Still have quorum. Okay, if we can rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Not yet.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have correspondence as is listed in the agenda, and I'd like to hand it over to Dr. Schiff for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's my pleasure this evening to introduce my recommendation for our new Supervisor of Fine, Performing, and Related Arts. Michael Callahan is here with his family tonight. Michael was one of 40 applicants for the position. He holds a Bachelor's of Music from Eastman School of Music, an outstanding conservatory level university, as well as a master's degree in educational administration from Caldwell College. He had been, and actually currently is, the exploratory team leader and director of choruses and drama at our neighboring district here in Somerville since 2003. We are very excited and enthusiastic to have the board consider his candidacy tonight. So I ask for unanimous consent to move item B6.1.1 to the floor at this time for the board's consideration.
I'd like to entertain a motion to approve item B6.1 of the action agenda.
I was just saying, on behalf of the Human Resources Committee, I move up and recommend him for
Thank you.
Thank you.
arts and supervisor.
Okay, a second.
That was a second.
We got
That was a second? Yeah. Okay, excellent. All right. Roll call, please, Mr. Mahmood.
Surely. Ms. Bogoshevsky? Good. Ms. Santafonte?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Dutta?
Yes.
Mrs. Haas?
Yes.
Mrs. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Wasant?
Yes.
Mr. Kent?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Welcome aboard.
I ask the board for a brief 5-minute recess so that the board has an opportunity to meet Mr. Callahan as well as his family.
Great. We'll take a 5-minute recess. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm pleased to share a few additional pieces of good news this evening. This past Thursday evening, the rain cleared out just in time for the class of 2015 to receive their Hillsborough High School diplomas on Noonan Field. Congratulations to the entire class of 2015 and their families. I also want to commend the class valedictorian, Tricia Dada, and the class's 2 salutatorians, David Hahn and Sophia Huang, for 3 wonderful and heartfelt speeches. Best wishes for a bright future to the class of 2015. Congratulations also goes out to Hillsborough Middle School student Varun Deb, who was recently honored by Johns Hopkins University as one of the brightest young students. On Saturday, June 6th, a regional award ceremony was held at Rutgers University. Varun was recognized for his exceptional performance on above grade level tests given to academically talented 2nd through 8th grade students, according to Johns Hopkins Center for Talented Youth. Way to go, Varun. During the Aughton Road School 6th grade Honors and Jazz Band concert held on May 20th, flautist Connor Hampton was presented with the Gary T. Smith Outstanding Musicianship Award. The Gary T. Smith Award was named after retiring Hillsborough band director Gary T. Smith to honor Gary's dedication to instrumental education in the district. An award is presented annually to a 6th grade honors band student who embodies his dedication to music, humble attitude, cooperative spirit, and overall outstanding musicianship. Congratulations, Connor. And that's all I have this evening.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Schiff. Moving on to approval of minutes. We'll first start with the executive session. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the June 8th, 2015 executive session minutes.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
Gotcha.
Motion
Motion
passes.
passes.
I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the June 8th, 2015 regular meeting minutes.
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Gotcha.
Any discussion? Dr. Swan?
I sent one
Yes.
typo. Something was spelled wrong.
Yes.
So
Corrected
with
for
that
the
We'll
correction.
make the correction.
Okay. As
Thank you.
amended.
Yes.
As corrected.
As corrected.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
Gotcha. Motion passes.
Motion passes. Okay, we have now committee reports. We had some last week. Yep. Start with education. Mrs. Haas.
Okay, where are we? The Education Committee had a meeting on the morning of June 16th, and we actually got a lot of items covered. We approved 5 novels for use in our schools in various literacy classes. We also approved 3 math textbooks, which are really not textbooks because they're online. Is this like our first time where we're not getting the book too? In my memory, that's what it is. But anyway, so we've now officially moved forward to online textbooks. We also, very interestingly, had a presentation by Mrs. Warlick from our special ed department. She is proposing a new special ed course called Comprehensive Reading Strategies. It's geared towards grade 9 and basically for dyslexic students. Although we're hoping we could, bring it in at a lower level in the future as well. This one class will potentially bring back anywhere from 3 to 10 students from private placements now, which is really good news given the cost of private placement. We reviewed the district's participation in a Sustainable New Jersey for Schools grant. Mrs. Lorraine Borick, our school supervisor of nursing, attended the meeting to share information about a $10,000 grant that would be used for wellness programs. So we discussed that and approved that. And Mrs. Assini, our social studies supervisor, attended the meeting to talk about the National History Day Enrichment Program for students in grade 5 through 8. And I think we've spoken about this program before, but the resolution of the program as to whether or not it would be an extracurricular activity after school or a parent-paid enrichment program, or if we were going to seek funding for outside payment for this program, the decision was made to make this a parent-paid enrichment program that would be held on Saturdays. We wanted to be able to include the middle school and Aughton Road, and it was felt that an after-school program would run into transportation issues as well as the problem of the kids starting at the same time or finishing their school day at the same time. And it was thought that a weekend program would be better, and there would be accommodation for anybody who couldn't make the program on Saturday but who would want to participate in it, that they would be able to participate through Google Hangouts. Although I have no idea what that is, I'm sure it's something technological that the kids can easily deal with. And then we discussed, after that, a technology integration rubric, which I really don't understand, but I'm sure is just fine. But actually, there were 4 goals for the technology integration rubric. One was globalizing the curriculum, one was asynchronous learning, one was the creation, collaboration, and publication of digital content, and one was productivity tools. So those are the 4 items that we discussed there, and there was some information provided about the level of turnkey training in our school district, and we were very pleased to hear that close to 90% of our teachers completed at least 6 hours of training, and 20% of our staff members took courses above and beyond what was required. So we're very pleased about that. That's it for education.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Haas. Human Resources?
Human Resources also met this month. We had some lengthy discussions, but at this point, most of them are personnel matters that need to remain confidential.
Okay, thank you. And Operations, Chairman Gillette is not here, so I'll report on it. The Operations Committee met on June 17th, Wednesday morning last week. The items that were discussed were with regard to, there was an update on the cost analysis of flex time for maintenance and custodial staff, which Mr. Gillette reported on from the prior meeting, so it was just an update with regard to the potential savings for that, which total would be just under $58,000. There were a discussion on the 2015-16 lunch prices, and the action item, the Operations Committee unanimously recommended to the full board an increase of 25 cents in the school lunch prices for the 2015-16 year, and that's on the action committee, or on the action agenda today. There was an update and discussion with regard to transportation and busing concerns for the middle school walkers, which we've had significant public comment at previous meetings. So we had our supervisor of transportation attended the meeting to discuss the requests. And the committee discussed subscription busing as an option. So in our busing policy, there are specific requirements with regard to grades and distance and hazardous routes in which who would be attributed or who would be afforded busing. So the discussion of a subscription busing as an option would be there, so that you would have however many buses would be based on demand, where you can get a full bus if you have a minimum of 40 students on a bus that can handle 54, then that would be an option that we are looking at. The cost would be dependent upon how many routes. I think it was estimated to be upwards of $800 for the entire year. From a logistics perspective, it looks like that if we were to implement this, we could reasonably start this on November 1st, which is just in time for the inclement weather that comes on. I'm just seeing what else we had with regard to that. I think that was it. So the administration is going to continue to explore the cost of the subscription busing for HMS walkers and then provide an update at the July 27th, 2015 meeting at the Board of Education. There will be an operations committee between now and then. We had a discussion with regard to Sodexo, who is our lunch provider, and Pritchard, which is our maintenance management and buildings and grounds. And for both of those, I think we were in the second year of a 3-year contract. Yep. And so the recommendation was to continue with them. For each of those, they get indexed to the consumer price index for inflation, which was 1%. Yep. And so the recommendation from the Operations Committee is to recommend Sodexo, Food Services, and Pritchard Industries for the 2015-16, which you'll see on the action agenda. We had discussion with regard to, while we had the folks from Sodexo, we talked about vegetarian lunch options based on an inquiry that we had at the board meeting at last meeting. And they provided us with a list of vegetarian options which are available, and there actually are quite a bit. So I think, so it ranged everything from, egg salad, tuna salad, garden salad, yogurt parfaits, pasta salad, various breakfast items for those that offer it. And so one of the requests that we had for administration to follow up with is part of this may actually be awareness. So if we asked if signage information can be provided of what the vegetarian options are, both for meals and for a la carte items. I think that's it. We had discussion on the Chromebooks. Those were all returned last week, so we look forward to hearing on how that went. And the operations committee, like the HR committee and the education committee, had a discussion with regard to a technology integration position, and the recommendation there was to continue further discussions with other board members. It was kind of a split vote, so there was no affirmative action from that committee, and that is the operations committee report. Any questions with regard to any of the committee reports? Dr. Sasson.
Yes, so I read with interest the addendum that was given about the vegetarian options, and first, thank you for taking that up in operations. Basically, not all of those are available daily, and it's an extensive list, so you wouldn't expect them to be. There's a lot of things like Caesar salad, which are actually usually with chicken, and they can pull the chicken off, but they can't replace it with another protein. So that was really my point. Deb was just saying, how is egg salad and tuna salad vegetarian? Well, some vegetarians eat those, but some others do not. But what I was really excited about was the options all the way down at the bottom, which are new for introduction next year, which is the Salad Works style, make your own salad or have a salad made for you, which I think would be really ideal for not only vegetarians, but also kids with food allergies who can't have a lot of things. A lot that's on that list is cheese, like cheese pizza, cheese ravioli. The lasagna roll-ups are on that list, but they have meat in them, I'm told. Anyway, so and the other option was a pasta bar, so I think it's great. I'm really thrilled. Hopefully those both come through, and the kids will utilize those and everything. But I also agree with that the signage is a good thing, because some things you can't see whether or not they actually have meat. So it would be useful, I think.
Yeah, we should take advantage of advertising, so let the market help.
Right.
That people choose what they want.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion with regard to any of the committee reports? Okay. Continuing on. Thanks, everybody. Let's see. Now we will open the floor to the public. And this is items, either new business or items that are on the action agenda. And just read my thing real quick. We very much welcome and value input from the public. There are 2 times. This is one of them where the public is invited to speak. And then there will be another forum at the end of the meeting, and that could be about any topic. Please understand that public forums are not structured as question and answer sessions, but rather are offered as opportunities to share your thoughts with the board. In instances where the board believes that there is a misunderstanding or inaccuracy, the board president or superintendent will address the comment. And there may be times when a member of the public makes a comment or asks a question about personnel or hiring decisions. New Jersey statutes do not permit the board to discuss personnel issues in public session. So, welcome. If you can introduce yourself and address. Thank you.
Good evening. Jim Bexa, 2405 Jamestown Common. I don't know if that's picking me up. We couldn't hear very well, so back when you were talking about the committee results, and we just wanted to clarify. So we were here earlier, some of us, some people are not here right now, but we were asking about the busing, and to be clear, so we are not getting busing, but if we get at least 40 children to have a bus, we are afforded the unique opportunity of paying $800 for that benefit
Right.
for the year that the other students get without paying the extra $800. Just want to be clear.
Yeah, so in terms of our policy, because and just you guys are kind of in the box in terms of all the double lane roads, Auten and
yeah, I know where
and
we live.
Triangle. So that's why people on the other side have buses, because those are considered hazardous routes. But nonetheless, so
do we? Was there a change in the hazardous routes? I mean, was there a certain determination? Because I guess, was it Fleming that just got busing last year, or this year? It's the first year. Was there a change in what were determined hazardous routes?
now the classification and categorization, and you guys can help me out with this. We haven't changed that in years. I think it was about 5 years ago when we revised the transportation policy. And that's where we had.
So that would be interesting. Then why would there be busing afforded to a new area just last year if those hazardous routes haven't changed?
Okay.
I believe we had looked at, with the Operations Committee, we were able to look at the major roads, and the roads that for the other development were, the speed limit was higher actually, so folks were traveling a lot faster, and it just, from a safety perspective, the board had reviewed that route and said that we would continue to bus that route, but when we looked at the walkers and the sidewalks and the crossing guards, for your route, that's why we were able to say that we would not be providing the busing for those reasons.
Okay. I mean, there is a spot. I mean, I know what you're talking about, Triangle Road, and the kids walk on the sidewalks. There's a very big buffer between the sidewalk and the road on Triangle Road. But on South Triangle, the route that the students, our children, have to walk, there's actually a part of the sidewalk there's no buffer at all. There's the sidewalk curb. Cars go flying right by there all the time. And a lot of those cars travel pretty fast, not quite as fast as on Triangle, but so I'm not really sure whether the determination that one is more dangerous than the other. I'm not sure we agree with that, but it's crossing guard aside, it's and I don't want to steal everybody else's thunder, so I don't. So I'm going to stop talking for the moment, and let some other people have a chance to speak. Because I know some people are upset and they'd like to talk. But thank you. And
Hi, Michael Guarnieri, 23 Aspen Drive. Before I start, I'd like to follow up from the comment, if that was one of the reasons was the speed limit. Your policy for hazardous roads is 35 miles per hour. South Triangle is 35 miles per hour. So I would just ask that you be consistent. But that just to go back to yours. I have a couple of questions. So on the May 18th board meeting, it was brought up that for bad weather, there would be busing to take care of that. How does that work?
I think what we'll do, obviously, when there's inclement weather and it's to the point where the roads or the sidewalks are not plowed in enough time, we've done this in the past where we will create a shuttle bus to be able to bring the kids back and forth. We've done that in the past. We will continue to do that if the weather is that bad and school is open. So we do that with most communities. We do get the contractors to work with us, and whatever accommodation we can make to get the kids in school during inclement weather, we certainly will honor that and continue to do that.
And how would we be communicated to?
Usually the transportation department, they're in obviously super early in inclement weather, and they're getting out messages, whether it's via instant alert. They do have instant alert specific by route numbers now. In your case, they probably make the phone calls. We're pretty prepared when there is inclement weather. There's more than a couple of people in transportation to get the word out. So we've done that in the past. We've been successful. We'll continue to do that.
Will you be adding that to the Department of Transportation handbook because there's nothing in writing about it now? And then as a separate follow-up, we communicated on February 18th to the Department of Transportation. Until we showed up here was the first communication. There's emails that included you, so we were just blown off. So I would hope that now in inclement weather we'll get the right conversation. With that, I don't think inclement weather is also snow. So school starts end of August. So if there's heavy rain, is that inclement weather? So please define inclement weather.
Okay. Okay, thank you for your
Should we
input.
come to the next meeting to find out that definition? How will that be communicated?
In terms of the policy and the transportation, that will be communicated. We would not communicate it here. It would be a communication out there. When we talk about inclement weather, and I'm just taking it from a lay interpretation, is when roads are not navigable or sidewalks. So in the instance of rain, that to me is that would not necessarily be inclement weather.
So then, as a follow-up, how many walkers are there to the Hillsborough Middle School?
140.
There are 100.
And there's 140, which we are aware of. And there's about 1,100 students at Hillsborough Middle School for the 2 grades. So 13% of your student body, Dr. Schiff, have to walk less than 2 miles. Inclement weather, it's the rain. I'd like a definition. I'd like it in the handbook. I think we have the right to that.
Yeah, I just want to clarify in terms of, it's not really inclement weather that we provided transportation. It was during a time when the roads were plowed, but the sidewalks were not. And kids were actually walking on Triangle Road to try to get to school. And that was totally unacceptable, very dangerous situation that was going on there. And our transportation coordinator at the time, along with Mr. Mahmood, was able to put together in a very short period of time a route that would go and pick up those kids so that they wouldn't be walking in the middle of Triangle School. If you remember a couple years ago when the snow plowed these very tall snow mounds where people couldn't see as they were pulling out onto Triangle Road from South Triangle Road, they couldn't even see around them. So it created a very dangerous situation. And rather than just having parents drive their kids to school at that time, we provided this service for them. But that, I don't want to mix or give you a mixed message that during the time when it rains that transportation would be provided. It was during a very specific time when roads were clear during significant snowstorm, but the sidewalks were not plowed and there weren't the cutouts from the sidewalk into the road.
That's all fine and good, but you put in your minutes inclement weather, and I would just want to remind all of you that there's electronics that the students will be walking 1.5 miles to school with that will get ruined in the rain. So again, it's outdated. I want a definition for inclement. I think everybody here has the right to that, but I want to stick on that. They all want to talk. I just would like to read you your Department of Transportation homepage. You might want to change it. Bus stop changes will be at a minimum this year due to our new routes. The Transportation Department worked extremely hard to assign safe and appropriate bus stops. A majority of the stops must be cluster stops to create efficient and financially responsible bus stops. Transportation is allowed to provide a bus stop up to 2 miles for K through 8 and 2.5 miles 9 through 12. Although the district is extremely lenient with this process, 1.5 miles or 2 miles, 140 walkers, change your website because it's not extremely lenient.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Nicole Panzano, 407 Columbia Common. I actually live on New Amwell, really, so it's a longer distance commute than most of the kids. And I can honestly say that most of the year the weather was so horrible. It was just extreme frigid temperatures, and it was the snow. It was never plowed on South Triangle. I should have videotaped it every day that I would drive her, and I would shovel my own car out. Or when she's in school and she has to actually walk home because it's delayed early dismissal because they haven't plowed yet. I don't think that that's fair. It's a very long walk for kids to carry a very heavy backpack with a violin and all their luggage, and it's just they got violins, and it's just I don't think that it's fair that it's based on the distance because we have a bus that's directly right across the street from us on the other side of the New Amwell. It's been a rough year, and for all us mothers, it's very I'm upset because this year we're all texting each other, worrying are your kids home safe, they're cutting through the woods. It's not safe. Just because of a crossing guard, that doesn't make our road safe. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Debbie Cohen, and I live in Weybridge. Same sentiment as everybody else, so I'm here to share a couple things. First of all, I understand the mandate in the state of New Jersey is 2 miles, that you have the right to deny busing. But I have clocked it from my home in Weybridge and along a safe walking route, not airline miles, which my understanding, the law is written for airline miles. My kid's not a bird, she doesn't fly in a straight line, that the safe walking route up Weybridge and down Triangle is more than 2 miles to the school, either back entrance or front entrance. I'm just here to tell you. The second thing is that what Nicole said is absolutely correct. I know kids in our development cut through the woods every day. Now, a couple years ago, there was a vagrant there. The police had to get him out of there. I worry about the safety of our kids going through those woods. The third thing is, what you just heard, is that in inclement weather through this snow, and not just this year, but last year and the snowy years we've had, it has been not plowed. People own their own sidewalks on Triangle. I have seen kids walking in the street because, like Nicole said, there are 4 of us moms, and we all work. This has been a real hardship. I've had to go to work late a couple times. It has not been easy. And what happens is those kids do walk in the street. We see them. So you can't tell me they're not doing it. I know they're walking through the woods. I know they're walking in the street. I will also say, and Dina knows this, is that in Fleming, somebody lobbied last year. Fleming's on the right side of Lawton Road. It is a low mileage street, and they're getting a bus right up the road in our same complex of developments. Why are they getting a bus and making exception and we're not? Third is, I want to know, you're asking me to pay an additional $800. I'm a single parent. I have a set salary. I live paycheck to paycheck. I cannot afford $800. I am paying the same rateable as the guy across town who's getting the bus, or across New Amwell that's getting the bus, or across Triangle that's getting the bus. I think we should get a bus, and you really need to seriously consider this. There's too many of us and too many kids that are put in danger. The last thing is that this inclement weather policy, I'm in total agreement that, and I understand that it was built on snow, but with Sandy, with all these horrible storms, with the weather getting worse every year, with these horrible rain conditions, thunderstorms, my daughter was walking home one day, had her saxophone with her, her backpack, she had no umbrella, she's walking home. I'm at work down in Mount Laurel. There's no way I can get her. Nobody was getting her. She came home thunderstorming. Now, I don't know what you think. If you want your child in these conditions, I think not. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Casey Kowalczyk. I was here at the last meeting, and I live at 1003 Washington Common. I agree with everybody that has spoken. I'm very concerned about my daughter walking. Besides me being a single mom, and I don't have an initial $800 a year to pay for the next 4 years because my son will be going in there 2 years as well. My concern, in addition to the not safe walkways and roadways, is that you are forcing me to have my daughter walk to school alone. I do not let my daughter walk anywhere alone now, and you are forcing me to have her walk alone to school. I looked up on the registry. There's 14 pages of sex offenders in Somerset County. 3 are in Hillsborough. Do you not think that they are aware of the walkers and where they walk in this town? I have a daughter. Also, not that I feel my daughter is being bullied, but I look out for other kids. They might be bullied on the way to school. Who is there to look after these kids? The crosswalkers aren't. They are not there in the woods that they're going to take the shortcuts to work, because they're running late to school. There's no one to protect these kids on the way to school. We don't have police that follow them to school. The crosswalkers don't see every nook and cranny that they're taking. So I'm really fearful for their safety, that no one is watching our kids. And I know if you lived a mile from your office, would you walk it in the pouring rain and lug all your laptops and everything? I don't think you would. So I don't think that's fair of you to ask us to do that for our kids, and also ask us to pay if we don't want to send them alone to school by themselves. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Doug Boylan. I live in Williamsburg Square. And it seems like this is becoming a money issue. Michael Guarneri's wife had wrote a few emails, and it seems like it just comes down to money, not safety. And every time I walk into these meetings, I see Mr. Volpe over here, and I've gone to numerous back-to-school nights. And the one thing I remember that he always says, safety is number one, education second. It doesn't seem like that's what we're doing here. We're not focusing on safety. And the one woman that spoke from Weybridge, she was saying she clocked it and it was over 2 miles. It's probably under when you do that walking through the woods part. But, we want to follow the sidewalks. And then she had also mentioned Sandy was one of the things that she had mentioned. Well, there was if you go up Weybridge and then on Triangle, there was a tree that was uprooted. And it was like that for approximately a year. So I don't know, the homeowner or the town, there was probably some battle there with who was responsible for that. So those kids, they were walking under that tree for a year that, who knows what could have happened. So, and that's the same thing we're mentioning. Would you walk with all your laptops to work in the rain? And we were talking about the snow. The rain can be just as bad too. You can't see. You have these snow mounds, but if it's pouring rain, you can't see around those either. I don't know if anybody else wants to speak.
All right, thank you.
Hi, I'm Marla Bessasparis. I actually live in Heritage Greens on 15 Fine Road, which is not part of their neighborhood. But from what I understand, our neighborhood also does not get a bus and hasn't for many, many years. I also have a daughter who's entering the middle school, and she is the only person in our neighborhood, except for I think one other boy who I think did get a bus for some reason this year that his mom might have had to pay for. And she would have to walk down Triangle Road because that is the route from our neighborhood. And again, she would be walking by herself. She's a girl. She's carrying a viola. She's carrying a Chromebook. I also have a son who will be going to the school in 2 years. Even though he's a boy, again, I wouldn't want him walking alone. So I will be having to drive her every day to and from school, which pretty much means I can't get a job, which I was trying to do this year because I have to be available for her. So I don't know I did speak to someone in transportation. She said she thinks there may be a bus, but everybody seemed a little confused about it. And she said if there is a bus, that they pick up on Triangle Road, which I don't feel is safe because I don't really want her standing on the corner of Triangle Road. My house actually backs to Triangle Road. And I can tell you 24/7, there's cars, there's motorcycles, there's police cars, there's ambulances, fire trucks, you name it. And they're tearing down that road at 90 miles an hour. And, I just don't feel safe about the whole thing. So there's a little confusion about what goes on in my neighborhood. I don't really know. I've actually been dealing with transportation. But although we are within probably a half mile of the school, it's just, as a parent, I don't feel comfortable having her walk to the school by herself or come home by herself. So I just wanted to say my piece to let you know that there's other developments besides theirs that are also having the same issue.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
I failed to mention one other thing that I wanted to comment on. So you talk about the bus in inclement weather. I have tried to get the bus in inclement weather. What I was told is that we can only put your child on a bus that's already on an established route, and there is no room. And I know that one of the other parents who lived 2 doors down tried twice, same response. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a ghost policy. There really is no inclement weather bus.
Okay.
That's
Thank
been
you.
my experience.
Thank you.
I just wanted to bring up one further point. I did bring it up the last time, but again, a lot of the responses that we're getting back is all about the money. And like I mentioned the last time, I come from a family with transportation and personally in Hillsborough, and I know every bus is not at full capacity. And every point in this district has to go by us to get to the middle school. So I don't see why you can't have a handful of buses to pick up these kids so that they can get to school safely. So I think that needs to be approached and not getting a whole separate bus just for our community. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Drew Miller. I'm from 2406 Jamestown Common. And just another note about the inclement weather. 2 weeks ago when we had the meeting here, you guys remember the thunderstorms that were going on. Amwell Road was closed with downed power lines. That night I drove down South Triangle Road, noticed the power lines up in the air, and I don't want my kids walking in inclement weather with power lines up in the air if on other roads power lines are down. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello again. I let other people speak. I didn't want to say anything else before when I was speaking because I didn't want to say anything that anybody else had wanted to say. I just have a couple other things. And actually, as I was standing here, I realized I've been here 12 years, 13 years now in Hillsborough, and I never realized people actually watch the board meeting minutes on TV. And I've had about 4 or 5 people approach me and say, I saw you at the board meeting. Good luck with that. By the way, did you know that there's a young person who gets her own special bus to the elementary school because they complained about something? Good luck. I saw you on the board meeting on YouTube. Didn't know that happened. I looked it up myself. Haven't seen myself speak in a while. And good luck with that. And by the way, did you know that we bus students across the street to an elementary school? Good luck. I saw you on the board on the board meeting the other night. And did you know that we bus students to other towns for Catholic schools, which is all well and good. I have nothing. I have no problem with that. And I guess that I don't have any problem with anyone getting any of those services. But I just think that we deserve those services as well, and we're not getting them. And to hear that we're not going to get them, but we have the opportunity to pay $800, which is not $800. For me, it'll be $3,200, $3,200. For Drew, that will be $4,800. $3,200. That's $1,600. That's $3,200. $3,200. $3,200. $3,200. $3,200, and the list goes on. That's an awful lot of money for us to ask us to pay for something that other people get. And we're talking about inclement weather and the rain and the snow. A 1.5 mile walk in the rain, in the heat, at home. I really want my daughter and my son to be focusing on their academics. I don't need my daughter to already be half tired, and then by the time the 8th period comes around, to be sitting there trying to focus on math, and her shoes are still wet from her walk to school. She's got to go home. She's got to do homework. She's got to slog back another. I know slog. The word slog has been popular lately, but to go back home now, she's got to practice her violin. She's got to focus on her homework. But without falling asleep. It's almost as if it's an academic disadvantage to have to do this. So I really would hope you would reconsider this. And one more point is that if you are going to preside over an unfair policy, I would just ask that you make it equally unfair to everyone, so that if it's going to be within 2 miles, the arbitrary 2 mile that some politician came up with, why don't we make it that everybody who lives within 2 miles does not get a bus, and then it's unfair for everyone equally, and it won't be arbitrarily unfair. And that way it's not more unfair for certain people. And if we are going to go with the subscription route, then that would put more people in the pool, and maybe it would cost a lot less, and you wouldn't have to ask us for $800. We're 140, but I'm sure if we were to include all the other people who are all getting bused who are within the 2 miles, maybe that number could get knocked down to 300. Just write them a nice little letter. We hope you've enjoyed your introductory free rate of busing for 1 year, but going forward, now you need to pay and share the burden with everybody else. And I think that's all I have to say, and I imagine we'll see you at the next board meeting. Okay. And maybe I guess I could leave it for the next board meeting, but I would like to formally invite all of you to walk with our students on the first day that it's pouring rain at about 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. I'll set you each up with a nice backpack that weighs about 15 pounds.
a little fake computer, a violin, or maybe my ukulele, and we can all walk together to see what it's like to sit in the, to do that to school. Thank you for your time, and I wish you all a good night.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I am Letitia Negron. I live in Weybridge Townhomes.
Hi, my name is Elena Nascimento, and I live on Weybridge.
My daughter actually walked this year, and it wasn't easy. She's 70 pounds, and I think her book bag might weigh that much too. Her daughter's going to go this year, and I strongly recommend a bus for all the same reasons, you know, that my community would like a bus too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, moving on to the action agenda. Dr. Schiff.
Thank you, Mr. Kinst. I ask for the board's consideration of the following motions that I'm making under the heading of education: to approve travel and related expenses, to improve the novels as reported out by Mrs. Haas, to approve the nurse to attend an overnight field trip, and to approve teachers participating in the Workshop Model Institute, approve the curriculum writing for mathematics and the textbooks reported out of committee, also approve the new special education course proposal that Mrs. Haas discussed, as well as approve the teachers participating in You, Me, and the PLC PD Summer Institute, approve the teachers to participate in administering the measure of developing English model screening for the ELL students in our district, also to approve the revised resolution for participation in the Sustainable New Jersey for School Certification Program, and approve the HIB investigation list.
Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve items A1 through A11.
So moved.
Second? Second. Okay. Does anybody need to separate anything out? I'll separate out A10. Any other separations? Okay, so this will be for items. Oh.
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
With regard to the school, the nurse going on the field trip, I ask this all the time. Are we still paying these costs, or are those costs being borne by the organization?
Some of the costs are being borne by the organization, and some of them are being borne by the board.
Are we approving the amount that we're approving is for the full load, or not, or the part that we are paying?
I believe that's the part we're paying, but I could double check that. I don't recall off the top of my head.
It's about half the hours. Right? It's about half the hours.
Half the hours.
Right. Well, not even, because you figure they went from the 12.
It's still $2,200. I mean, it's a lot of money. A nice bonus if you can get on one of these trips.
Okay. All right. Any other? So we're talking about items A1 through A9 and A11. Any other discussion? I have a question with regard to the travel-related expenses. What's the? I know that there are limits in terms of either per person or for the total for the year that could be done, because there are three that are on here that are quite substantial. I noticed that two attendees that are listed actually are in the same school, and they actually cover the same classes. So I want to make sure that we're within our limit for sending people out of district for PD and things like that, professional development and whatnot.
So when we approve something like this, one of the processes that we go through is to ensure that the incidentals, daily meals, things like that are in alignment with the OMB rates. OMB, right, Iman? OMB rates? So, and there's there's just a list, and we follow that to the T. As far as district-wide, I've not been told that we're getting close to that number that's there, so.
The that conference looks very interesting, so I look forward to having a report out to the Education Committee.
It's an excellent conference. It's the premier conference on gifted education.
I did.
Yes, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then another question I have is with regard to the curriculum writing for mathematics. I remember from a conversation before we said that we revised the mathematics to account for Common Core, and then this was a refresh, or is this a revamp? This is a revamp. Okay, I think that helps. I was doing the numbers and came up with 57 man weeks, so that's just over a year's worth of somebody's time to rewrite. Okay, thank you. Okay, those are the questions I had. Thank you. Roll call, please. This is again for motions A1 through A9 and A11.
Ms. Bogoshevsky?
Yes.
Ms. Santafonte?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Dutta?
Yes.
Mrs. Haas?
Yes.
Mrs. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Wasson?
Yes.
Mr. Kent?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Now I'd like to entertain a motion to approve item A10 of the action agenda.
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second? Okay. Yeah, Judy.
Judy, thank you.
Mrs. Haas.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I pulled it out because my opposition is still the same as it was last week. I know that you guys in the Education Committee, we talked about it, and they rephrased they rewrote the resolution, although it still has a commitment to create green teams in every single school. And for me, it's just I have a hard time with as a stipulation for getting a funding from a non-governmental organization that's actually funded by a federal agency, that we actually have to write a resolution saying we're going to make certain commitments. And I understand that that's a requirement, but I have a hard time with us doing that. So I'm going to be voting against that motion.
And Judy, you said it was for wellness programs? That's what, it was for wellness programs that we.
Yes. Brought to us by our chief nursing supervisor.
Yeah.
Do we know like what the programs were, or I don't know what was encompassed in the wellness program. I looked on their website.
It would be in keeping with, at least so we have a wellness policy that requires us to have wellness teams. So that is what the green teams would be substituted for in this case, wellness teams, and they would be implementing our policy, which we have to do anyway. So it's no new programs or anything like that. It's actually to implement the current wellness policy, which we reviewed at the Education Committee as well.
Yeah, and to be clear, in the Education Committee, I applauded the staff for pursuing funding outside of the district. Again, it's just a personal issue that I have with grants that have strings attached to them, as benign as they may be interpreted. Okay, that's all. Roll call, please, Mr. Mahmood.
Surely. Ms. Bogoshevsky?
Yes.
Ms. Santafonte?
Abstain.
Mr. Cohen?
Abstain.
Mr. Dutta?
Yes.
Mrs. Haas?
Yes.
Mrs. Haley?
No.
Mrs. Wasson?
Yes.
And Mr. Kent?
No.
Motion passes. We have four.
We have a majority.
You have a majority.
You have a majority, yes. This is not something that
It doesn't have
requires
personnel.
five.
Passes.
So motion passes. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, continuing on with the action agenda. Dr. Schiff.
Thank you, Mr. Kentz. I ask for the board's consideration of the following motions that I am recommending under the area of human resources.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Oh, no, we did A11. Okay, sorry. Sorry for the interruption.
Not a problem. First, to approve the attached resolution to approve the retirements of Wendy Novick, who is a teacher of special education at Alton Road School since September of 1994, and Marianne Wayne, who was a lunch aide at Amsterdam School since 1990. We appreciate their service to our schools and our students. Also approve the resignations as listed, to approve long-term substitutes, revised contracts, leaves of absences, and to approve the appointments of supervisor, which we already did, teachers, long-term substitutes, secretary, coach, student teachers, extra period coverage, summer work, extended school year program work, and to authorize superintendent to approve contracts for non-administrative personnel during the summer months.
Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve items B1 through B11, excluding item B6.1.
So moved.
Second? I'll exclude it. I just want to do the first one
I'm
first.
sorry, can you repeat that, Tom?
This is for items B1 through B11, excluding B61. I will be separating out another item.
thank you.
Sorry. Okay. Okay, and then we're going to separate out 6.5.
Right.
We're from a request I just heard. So this is for items B1 through B11, excluding 6.1, because we already acted on it. 6.5. And then also, just for clarification, item B11, which is the authorization of the superintendent to approve contracts for non-administrative personnel. This is what we do every year. It's during the summer months. We're only meeting once a month. It gives Dr. Schiff the ability to extend offers to teachers and non-administrative staff so that we can make sure that we get the best talent that we can in a timely period. So, okay. Any discussion on any of those items? Okay. Roll call, please, Mr. Mahmood.
Surely. Ms. Bogoshevsky?
Yes.
Ms. Santafonte?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Dutta?
Yes.
Mrs. Haas?
Yes.
Mrs. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Soissant?
Yes.
Mr. Kent?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion passed. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve item B6.5.
So moved.
Second.
Deb.
Okay, I heard Dina.
And then I got Deb.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Any discussion? Okay. Roll call, please, Mr. Mahmood.
Surely. Ms. Bogoshevsky?
6.5.
B6.5.
6.5. Oh,
Coach.
sorry, abstain.
Okay.
Okay. Ms. Santafonte?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Cohen?
Abstain.
Okay. Mr. Dutta?
Yes.
Okay. Mrs. Haas?
Yes.
Mrs. Haley?
No.
Ms. Soissant?
Yes.
And Mr. Kent?
Yes. Motion passes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. I ask for the board's consideration of the following motions under the area of operations: to approve the renewal of custodial maintenance management service contract, to approve the line item transfers, monthly bills list, food service agreement, and approve the new school lunch prices as reported out by our board president. And we have a motion C6 to approve the resolution for a lease purchase for buses. There have been a great deal of questions around this particular motion, and I ask the board's consideration to hold this for consideration by the operations committee meeting, at the next operations committee.
Okay. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve items C1 through C5, the action agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay. Roll call, please, Mr. Mahmood.
Surely. Ms. Bogoshevsky?
Yes.
Ms. Santafonte?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Dutta?
Yes.
Mrs. Haas?
Yes.
Mrs. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Soissant?
Yes.
Mr. Kent?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion passes. I'd like to entertain a motion to postpone item C6 of the action agenda.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please, Mr. Mahmood.
Surely. Ms. Bogoshevsky?
Yes.
Ms. Santafonte?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Dutta?
Yes.
Mrs. Haas?
Yes.
Mrs. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Soissant?
Yes.
Mr. Kent?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion passes. That's it for the action agenda. I'd like to open up the floor to comments from the public. Again, this could be for anything. Hi.
Hi, how are you again?
Good.
Just want to follow up from all of our comments. I want to understand the process of this.
Into the mic.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I just want to follow up on the comments that we made earlier. So I just want to understand what the process is because I'm not familiar with it. So we've given you a lot of input tonight, and obviously we're very concerned about the busing for our children. What are the next steps that you take to consider our comments? Are you going to evaluate this? Are we going to get an answer this summer? Because obviously we'd like to see it in place for September or August when school starts. So one is, actually it's September, right? So whatever.
Yeah.
Want to understand the process. So can somebody help me understand what the next steps are and when you're going to meet or when you're going to talk about this and when you're going to get back to us?
Yep. So administration and the board has heard all your comments, not only with this meeting, but the meetings before. So the administration will look into, there were a couple statements that we need to confirm. The operations committee will meet next month, usually it's
22nd, Wednesday the 22nd.
Wednesday the 22nd, to review the input and also the feedback from the administration. And then they will discuss and then issue what their assessment is. And then the board will if there's an action, we'll have that at the next meeting,
Okay.
which would be June 27th.
The Monday, correct?
That Monday.
All right. So do you have,
sorry,
I
July
know
27th.
Jim has been a point person for us, but are we going to get some feedback as to your assessment before that meeting, before final decisions are made? I mean, we'd like to have that feedback.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll
assess it.
we'll have the administration take assessment, and then we have the contact information for the point person?
Yeah, we do. We do. Tom.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thomas Zobelli, 9 Upper Neshannock Court. Again, I don't intend to generally speak at these meetings, but there's always something very exciting in the action agenda. A10, which you all approved, or it was approved by the board, a majority approved this, the Sustainable New Jersey School Certificate Program. Can someone explain that to me? Because I'd like to understand what that program is. And why specifically you, Mr. Kinst, abstained or voted against the particular
All right, I'll do my best, and I'll try to do summary, and also in deference to that the board has acted. And in fact, I will be signing a resolution after this meeting is finished. But New Jersey, Sustainable New Jersey is a non-governmental organization that partners with municipalities and school districts where they have a sustainability certification program. So much like there's kind of blue medals, they have a certification. There's different levels that you can pursue, bronze and gold. And based on what actions you do and what undertake, and you demonstrate those activities, you can qualify for certification. Specifically, what the issue here was with a grant which is provided by that organization. In the discussion that we had with the Education Committee, it was and in conversation with the Sustainable Jersey Schools, New Jersey Sustainable Schools, that organization, is that pursuing the certification is not a requirement for obtaining the grant. But you do have to write the resolution to demonstrate that the board is aware that you're pursuing this grant. So for me, it was, as I expressed, it was a philosophical hesitation that I have with regard to
I'll
for that.
wait.
So that's what. But as I said, the board has acted,
Okay.
and
I'll talk to you after the meeting, because I would like a fuller and maybe a more layman's term
You bet.
explanation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zavelli.
Hello, Doug Boylan again. I just had a couple more questions about the busing. For clarification, it's another month before it's even being discussed? Is that what I heard? I thought I heard July 27th?
No, so the administration will continue to have their internal conversations. The board members we have the next operations committee. Each committee meets once a month. And so typically it's every second board meeting is when you get the report outs. In the summer months, in July and August, we have one board meeting. And so this would be the committee meeting that occurs just before the next board meeting.
Okay.
So it'll be about 3 weeks before the operations committee meets as a committee. And this would be one of the agenda items.
Okay, is one of the things that they're looking at, is there any data as far as how many kids are on the buses that we have available now? I'm just wondering if there's empty seats on the buses now and that some of them can be just rerouted. So it wouldn't cost any extra money. It's just to see the capacity. I'm sure we have the numbers of students that we have that ride the buses. Do we have the numbers on each bus so we can look at?
Yeah, unfortunately, we couldn't give you a general assessment for empty seats, but the district does have a 3-tiered system. We generally try to get as many students on the buses, and you may not see the bus, but we have a requirement to hold the bus for every student that's registered for that bus. So sometimes parents get the impression that that bus looks empty, but quite frankly, we would not be able to double up on a bus. So if there are empty seats sometimes, I guess the impression is. However, with a multi-tiered bus system, with as big as we are, we do fill our buses. So the idea is you may see a couple of empty seats, and we wouldn't be able to double fill those seats.
So we know
unfortunately, I
for-
can't give you all the answers for all the buses, but generally that's the concept, and unfortunately it looks sometimes that way, but it may not be the case.
And that's my question. Do we know that for sure, that every bus is full to capacity?
They optimize it as much as possible. I mean, I can speak from personal experience where my daughter rides a bus, but she actually goes all the way to the west side of town by River Road, all the way over to 206 just to get to the middle school, which is not we're in between. But
So can we confirm that those
what the efficiency is?
No, the exact numbers.
That's something that
Yeah, we were
you can
one of the
run
highest efficiencies in the county, but we can certainly get that efficiency number.
They'll look at percent fill, and
Okay.
unfortunately, we're not like the airlines where we can overbook seats, even though
Well,
they may not be.
I'm not asking you to overbook seats. I'm just looking to see.
What percentage of seats are actually assigned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we know the exact number of kids that go to the school.
Yep. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Just as a follow-up to something you just said, so the committee is going to meet before the board reconvenes? The committee's going to meet before the board reconvenes, correct?
Yes.
That's what I understand. I'm a little concerned about the translation of our comments to that committee. Is it an open forum that we can actually attend and discuss this with the committee?
The committee members are here at the dais, so we were here.
So you're a subset of the board?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No,
all right.
yeah.
Yes, I thought it was somebody from operations from the administration who maybe wasn't present here. So.
No.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Leisha Gabriel-Bayless, live in Hillsborough. So I wrote in at the beginning of May just asking about your 5-year plan, and because I had heard that you're going to involve the community, and I think I was told to resubmit my interest when the summer came, and I think, I haven't looked at the calendar, but I think the summer is here. So I was just wondering, are you going to be starting that up now, or are you going to wait till the fall to involve the community?
So, thank you for asking.
And I'm sorry, I've missed a couple of board meetings, so...
Yeah, that's okay. Just real quick, the governance committee has met. We are in the process of interviewing references for candidate service providers for helping to do the community input and building the strategic plan. Timing looks like we would have those community forums in the fall, late fall through early winter, kind of the October, November, January, February timeframe. So be leading into the goal is to have that completed before we in time for the budget process, so that we can budget for the 5-year plan, first year of the 5-year plan, so that aligns with the budget process.
And we will be reaching out to the full community through our listserv. So if you're on our, if you're a parent, you'll receive information and a mechanism by which you can sign up. So there'll be a lot of information that will be going out to the entire community through this stakeholder development process. That is the first stage of reviewing our strategic plan.
So board members will be working through the summer. Community, you can enjoy your summer vacation. We'll see when fall starts up.
Okay, and then how about for the people who don't have kids in school yet?
We'll be
That's fine.
advertising and inviting as well. So there'll be mechanisms for people who don't have children in the district to participate as well. We would like a
on your
broad
website,
voice as possible. We'll
you have my
probably be
email address?
communicating. There's a methodology that each of our professional facilitators would do, and they've shared some of that information with the committee. So we're making a decision, frankly, between two right now, and we anticipate putting on the agenda for our next board meeting one of the two, coming out of the governance committee's recommendation. And then from there, we'll be communicating out to the broader community as well as to parents specifically and students as well.
And with regard to community, it's not just limited to parents. We want it, parents,
Senior
non-parents,
citizens,
senior
yep.
citizens, business. Because the school district impacts so many people and has so many stakeholders, we want to make sure that we get as much input from as many stakeholders as we can in terms of formulating our strategic plan.
So it will be on your website, sorry? Did you say?
That's one of many ways that it's going to be
Okay,
communicated.
because I won't get the email blast unless you go to preschools and nursery schools. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dr. Schiff, sorry, Tom.
Yes.
Can I just make a suggestion when it comes to that? Because it's just being part of governance and then thinking outside of the box too, because I know we want to try to get as many people involved in this process. Maybe we should speak to Anthony Ferreira, the Township Administrator, and they can also include that in their e-blast.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Haley. Okay. Any news, comments from the board?
Comments from the board. I asked Tina the next time Human Resources gets together to look into reviewing coaches' stipends to see if they're due an increase. They have not been looked at over 5 or 6 years. Rumor has it that there's assistant coaches in smaller schools earning more in stipends than our head coaches with Hall of Fame credentials.
Okay, I'll ask
So I'd like to see that, take a look at. It's not a huge amount of money.
I believe it's part of the collective bargaining agreement, too.
Okay. We'll make sure it's on the next HR meeting.
Take a look. Thank you.
Thank you. We had a great graduation on Thursday. It was fun. 574 students, passing them out. And we had, this year was special because we had 2 salutatorians, and my understanding is that the difference in their GPA was at the thousandths or the hundredths of a point. So congratulations to both, and for everybody who gave speeches. It was very well done. So it was nice.
It was a hard act to follow, right? Absolutely.
And I would just like to thank Mrs. Haas for stepping in for me, as I was unable to attend because of my back issues that I'm having. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hope you're feeling better.
Yeah.
All right. Seeing no other conversation.
No, we're going back into executive session.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tina. We were going in anyway.
Okay, so this is I'll read a motion to go into executive session. This will be non-action. When we return, there will be no action afterwards, and we'll return by 9:30. We'll try to happen sooner. So, whereas the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231 of the laws of 1975 provides that a public body may exclude the public from that portion of a meeting of which the public body discusses certain matters for which confidential is required as permitted in Section 7B of the Act, resolved by the Board of Education of the Township of Hillsborough and the County of Somerset and the State of New Jersey as follows. The matter to be discussed are personnel matters. The matters discussed in executive session shall be disclosed to the public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. There will be no action taken at the completion of our meeting. We are targeting 9:30. I'd like to entertain the motion to go in executive session.
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, we're going to executive session. We're back. For those, again, no action after. Happy, safe, enjoyable summer.